your seats. Thank you. Honorable Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, MPs, Parliamentary Secretaries, Permanent Secretaries, Deputy Permanent Secretaries, members of the THA, representatives of the THA, welcome to the Diplomatic Center. Welcome to the ceremony in recognition of the appointment of the Head of the Public Service, Ms. Natasha Barrow. As I welcome you this evening, one of the pillars of this government and one of the pillars of the Prime Minister's vision has been to respect, appreciate, empower, and improve the well-being of the workers of this country, of the public service and the public servants. Today, as we appreciate, as we commend and congratulate the work of the people who get our country going each day, we say thank you to the public servants of our country. Before taking office, the Prime Minister crafted what she called the workers' agenda. When the Prime Minister took office, she started to implement the workers' agenda. And you've seen significant deliverables from that. 10% delivered for our public servants. You've seen significant pieces of legislation from the Minister of Labour. Today, we are here to also say thank you to the foundation of the ministries of our government. As this government continues to reform our economy, restore security, and ensure that people of Trinidad and Tobago have a better way of life, we do so with the able support of public servants, and more so the stewardship of the permanent secretaries, as well as the deputy permanent secretaries of our ministry. But today, we are here to celebrate the appointment of someone who has been, or can be described as being the wind beneath this government's wings. And that person is the permanent secretary to the Prime Minister, and now the head of our public service. I'd like to, again, congratulate Ms. Natasha Barrow on being appointed as head of the public service. As we continue in today's program, I'd like to invite the Minister of Labour, who, under the leadership of the Prime Minister, has been working to ensure a better way of life, better conditions, and enrichment for public servants and workers across Trinidad and Tobago. Let's invite Senator the Honourable Leroy Batiste, Minister of Labour.
The Honourable Kamala Prasad Biseta SC, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Cabinet, fellow Cabinet Ministers, Permanent Secretaries, Deputy Permanent Secretaries, good afternoon, one and all. Today's occasion is a significant one for the public service of Trinidad and Tobago. It is genuinely an honor this afternoon to address you at the appointment of the Permanent Secretary to the Prime Minister and the Head of the Public Service. I would like to congratulate you as you are confirmed in this position, Ms. Barrow. This reflects a level of confidence in your stewardship to date, as you have been performing these same duties steadfastly and efficiently. Permit me to ruminate a bit on the work of the public service of which you are in charge. Government policies do not exist in isolation. They are not confined to cabinet papers or policy announcements. They shape the meaning, they take shape and meaning through implementation. It is the public service that gives effect to government's decisions and priorities. Through the work of public officers, Government policies become real services and real outcomes for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. In this way, the public service remains the primary vehicle through which government projects its policies to the national community. Across every ministry and department, public officers are responsible for ensuring that policies are translated into action in a manner that is lawful, efficient, and responsive to the needs of citizens. Sound policy without effective execution achieves little. It is the public service that bridges the gap between vision and delivery. This responsibility becomes even more important during periods of national transition. It is therefore important to acknowledge that a permanent secretary, being appointed today, served in an acting capacity during the previous administration in the office of the Prime Minister, and through the change of government, continued to exercise her functions effortlessly. That period of transition required stability, professionalism, and continuity in the administration of public affairs. This smooth transition experience during the time is a testament to the strength of Ms. Barrow, a stalwart of the public service, and an example of disciplined leadership exercised within it. It also reflects the fundamental principle that the public service of Trinidad and Tobago serves the state and the people regardless of the political administration. I therefore thank you for the professional and efficient manner that you undertook your responsibility with the change of administration to ensure a smooth transition. It must be emphasized that the role of the permanent secretary in the office of the Prime Minister carries particular responsibility of significant importance. It requires close coordination with the Prime Minister, the Honorable Kamala Prasad BCSC, and serves as a central point for administrative leadership, policy coordination, and continuity at the highest level of government. Ms. Barrow, we offer our warmest congratulations and heartfelt appreciation for your exemplary service as Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister. Your system-wide leadership has strengthened coherence, professionalism, and consistency across the public service, affirming it as a single unified national institution. Through your unique role in coordinating and guiding permanent secretaries, you have enabled a truly whole-of-government approach to administration, planning, and policy delivery. Today's appointment, although long overdue, reflects government's unwavering confidence in the expertise, competence, and capability of this unique permanent secretary to provide steady leadership to the support of the Prime Minister and government, and to continue strengthening the administrative machinery of the state. It also signals a commitment to professionalism, continuity, and effective public administration, a testimony to the individual you are, Ms. Barrow. To the Permanent Secretary, Ms. Natasha Barrow, I offer sincere and well-deserved congratulations on your official appointment to the position of Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister. Your experience, particularly during the period of transition has demonstrated the value of professionalism, discretion, and dedication to duty. As you assume this role, you continue to play a vital part in supporting government policy and serving the people of Trinidad and Tobago. In closing, I once again congratulate the Permanent Secretary on her appointment and wish her every success.
Thank you very much to the Minister of Labour, Honourable Leroy Batiste. I'd now like to invite the Honourable Prime Minister to make a presentation on behalf of the Government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to Ms. Barrow. So I invite the Prime Minister as well as our Head of the Public Service, Ms. Natasha Barrow, to join us.
Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. As we congratulate P.S. Barrow, I want to just present her with a congratulatory letter, thanking her for her service, and of course, wishing her every success on the way forward. Thank you, Sarah. The letter. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Honourable Prime Minister. The next speaker at this evening's celebration deserves a very, very warm introduction because she has spent over 30 years in the public service. As a matter of fact, I would have been 5 years old when Ms. Barrow started in the public service. And yeah, her stellar leadership, her innovation, her courage ensured that Ms. Natasha Barrow served as PS in National Security, PS in the AG's office, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Legal Affairs, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Social Development, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Public Administration, and the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs. And now we are very grateful to have her serving as the Permanent Secretary to the Prime Minister at the Office of the Prime Minister. Let us welcome Ms. Natasha Barrow to address you this evening.
Good afternoon, everyone. Cabinet ministers, junior ministers, parliamentary secretaries, permanent secretaries, deputy permanent secretaries, other government officials, specially invited guests, members of the media, and my Honorable Prime Minister, Kamala Prasad-Bissessor. I take the opportunity to accept this appointment as Permanent Secretary to the Prime Minister and Head of the Public Service with a deep sense of responsibility and humility. This is not merely an administrative role. It is a position that carries the stewardship for the performance, integrity, and professional standards of the public service as a whole. The Office of the Prime Minister sits at the center of government. The Office of Permanent Secretary to the Prime Minister and Head of the Public Service carries a responsibility that extends across ministries, departments, agencies, and institutions. This moment, therefore, is not about an individual appointment. It is about the expectations that now confront us collectively and the work that must be done to strengthen the capacity and credibility of the public service. I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the Prime Minister for her confidence placed in me and for the clarity of her vision for the transformation of the public service. That vision calls for a public service that is modern, disciplined, performance-driven, and worthy of public trust. I share that vision fully and accept the responsibility to help translate it into systems, behaviors, and results. However, transformation cannot be achieved from the center alone. It must be owned and driven by the leadership of the public service itself. And so I speak directly to my colleagues, the permanent secretaries, heads of departments, heads of agencies, and senior officers gathered here today. We cannot continue to defer reform to another moment, another administration, or another generation. The time for change is now, and not within our children's or grandchildren's lifetime. That change requires a deliberate shift in attitudes and in how we exercise authority and in how we manage performance and in how we hold ourselves and others accountable. We must move beyond a culture of caution without courage, compliance without commitment, and activity without any impact. In its place, we must build a culture anchored in professionalism, confidentiality, accountability, and results, where leadership is exercised decisively, problems are confronted honestly, and excellence is expected, supported, and rewarded. To be clear about where we are going, we must first be clear about what the public service is. According to Dr. Canton Davis, former Cabinet Secretary and head of the Public Service of Jamaica, the public service comprises all agencies of government established by law to carry out the policies of the government. It is neither abstract nor limited to any single ministry or office. Instead, it constitutes the collective ministry through the decisions of an elected government, in which the decisions of an elected government are translated into action on behalf of the state. Our system of government is rooted in the Westminster Whitehall tradition. Within that model, the public service plays a critical role in the strategic and day-to-day functioning of government, while remaining independent, professional, and insulated from partisan political influence. That independence is not a privilege, it is a responsibility. It exists to ensure continuity, objectivity, and sound administration in the service of national interests. At its core, the fundamental roles of the public service remain unchanged. We advise the government on policy options. We implement the policy decisions of the government, and we function as the administrative machinery that keeps the state operating. What must change urgently is not what we do, but how we do it. Within this framework, the Office of the Prime Minister occupies a distinct and central position. It is not merely another ministry, it is the point at which strategy, coordination, performance, and accountability must converge. The OPM has the responsibility to provide coherence across the public service to ensure that priorities are clear, performance is visible, and execution is disciplined. As head of the public service, I see OPM as the anchor for a more integrated, results-oriented system of government, one that supports ministries and agencies while holding the system as a whole to account. This is not about centralization for its own sake. It is about clarity of direction, consistency of standards, and a shared understanding of what success looks like. The OPM must help set the tone for the professionalism, confidentiality, evidence-based decision-making, and performance across the public service, while respecting the statutory responsibilities of accounting officers and agency heads. While the fundamental roles of the public service endure, the environment in which we operate has changed profoundly. Our approach must change with it. Over the immediate horizon, modernization must be driven by a shift from activity to outcomes, from fragmented processes to integrated systems, and from institution to data-informed decision-making. We must fully leverage available technology, not as an add-on, but as a core enabler of efficiency, transparency, and accountability, while building the capacity and the capability to manage the risks that come with its use. Improved functioning also requires renewed attention to people. A modern public service depends on continuous learning, skills development, and leadership at all levels. It requires clarity around roles, fair and transparent systems of engagement, and a professional environment in which officers feel secure enough to perform, innovate, and lead. Most importantly, the modernization requires a shift in mindset. The public service must be confident in its advisory role, disciplined in its execution role, and accountable in its administrative role. We must be prepared to challenge ourselves, to abandon practices that no longer serve us well, and to measure success by results delivered to our citizens, not by the effort expended or the processes followed. This is the work before us. It is demanding, but it's achievable if we act with urgency, coherence, and a collective resolve, and believe in our Prime Minister. In conclusion, as Permanent Secretary to the Prime Minister and Head of the Public Service, I approach this responsibility with a clear understanding of both its weight and its possibilities. The task before us is not incremental improvement, but a purposeful transformation, grounded in professionalism, driven by performance, and sustained by trust. This work cannot be done in isolation. It will require active leadership of permanent secretaries, heads of departments, heads of agencies, and senior officers across the entire public service. Each of us must be prepared to lead differently, to demand more of our institutions, and to hold ourselves to the same standards we expect of others. The public service must once again be a place where integrity is protected, confidentiality is respected, advice is sound, and delivery is reliable. A place where innovation is embraced responsibly, where people are developed deliberately, and where outcomes, not excuses, define success. I commit to working with you to strengthen systems, culture, and leadership. And when I say I'm committed to working with all of you, I mean with all the permanent secretaries and their ministers to really create a strong culture in the public service. And I do it with the sincere appreciation to the Prime Minister for the trust and vote of confidence placed in me through this appointment, and with a clear understanding that the responsibility that this confidence carries. I ask in return for your partnership, your candor, your resolve, as we undertake this work together, decisively, collaboratively, and in service to the people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barrow. Ladies and gentlemen, those joining us on our TTT stream, before I bring on the feature speaker, I want us to understand the context of why we sit in this room. This room and this building was initially called the Diplomatic Center, but under the Prime Minister's leadership, it has become the Delivery Center, and I'll tell you why. Right in this room, we delivered over 600 internships under Minister Padarat's leadership with the Prime Minister. Right in this room, we ensured that over 800 people could receive prosthetic limbs because of the trip the Prime Minister took to New York, and also because of the Prime Minister's trust to have world leaders such as Prime Minister Modi here in this country. Right in this room, together with Minister Hussein, leases were given out after years of being ignored. Right in this room, ladies and gentlemen, a week ago, the survivors and the families of the pariah victims were given compensation, a promise kept by the Prime Minister. Today, we deliver something else in this room. Today, we show the public that this government is delivering accountability and transparency. But more so, we have with us in this room all of the permanent secretaries and deputy permanent secretaries, because under the Prime Minister's leadership, the Prime Minister has been working hard to ensure safety and security returns to our country. No other Prime Minister has worked to fight crime as this Prime Minister in the last 9 months. No other Prime Minister has worked to fight narco-trafficking such as this Prime Minister. This Prime Minister, who will speak now, because we have to go to Cabinet, is the only Prime Minister in the last 10 years to ensure we have economic stability. We have equitable social services. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Nicholas has taken on a role unto himself, and he's doing very well. Can we thank him for chairing these proceedings? Thank you so much. P.S. Barrow, newly appointed Head of the Public Service, Permanent Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister. All ministers who are here, members of the Parliament, members of the Senate, thank you for joining us. Permanent Secretaries and other government officials, senior officials who have joined us today, and of course, specially invited guests. And again, I will end my greetings and salutations with saving the best for last. Our remarkable guest of honor, the newly appointed Head of the Public Service, P.S. Natasha Barrow. Good afternoon to all of you. And I thank you for joining us. I'm honored to be here, and Nicholas explained to you that this diplomatic center, we've converted it into the delivery center, and of course, many more deliveries to come. Today, I cannot deliver a permanent secretary, but we're holding this recognition of her appointment, and I'll share a bit with you in the last 9 to 10 months since we came into office of the experiences we have had. And as Minister Batiste talked about, the transition phase, which is now going 9 into 10 months of a transition, long transition, I would say. So, Madam PS, accept our heartfelt congratulations on this well-deserved elevation. The Office of the Prime Minister and the public service that sustains everything that we do, where our vision meets execution, coordination, replacing fragmentation, and leadership is exercised with wisdom and restraint. I say, a distinguished daughter of our soil. This confirmation, therefore, carries meaning far beyond the office, signaling stability in transition, clarity of direction, and a firm commitment to the principled governance. It is precisely because leadership is forged in character and proven in service that we must speak honestly about the public service. While many dedicated and capable officers sustain the public service, as P.S. Barrow just mentioned, too much remains outdated and unfit for purpose. Our systems and ICT infrastructure lag behind modern government and in some cases effectively hinder efficiencies, responsiveness, and accountability. We cannot deliver 21st century services using 20th century tools. Resistance to technology, weak risk management, and a culture of excuses continue to delay innovation and slow decision-making. Our citizens expect outcomes, not too many explanations. They want the outcomes. Equally troubling, in some instances, is the erosion of professional confidentiality and discipline. When integrity is compromised, of course, trust is weakened. For example, maybe this may not be the place, but we talk about the head of the public service. We talk about the cabinet, which is the central engine, and the preparation of cabinet documents for us to consider, to make policies based on the promises that we made that gave us the mandate to govern. So cabinet notes and confidential documents do not circulate by themselves. Low morale, must also be confronted. Insecure tenure, inadequate training, and unclear career paths have left too many officers disengaged. A public service that does not invest in its people cannot expect excellence. As we speak now, our Minister of Public Admin is in the UAE. He's working together with officials there to try to bring to us in Trinidad and Tobago the technology that we need to further modernize the public service. So Mr. Dominic is working on that for us, to bring in full AI, full technology, to help you, because I know none of us want to go to work and feel that we are not working well. None of us go to work when we get up every day, whether it be morning, noon, or night, we go to work. We want to do well, but you must have the tools in order to do better. I'm not saying you're not doing well, but of course there is always room for improvement. That is why my minister now is together in UAE with our Minister Sean Sobers to help us find the tools to bring our public service, into this modern age. I would have been here many years, maybe more, according to Nicholas. He was only 5 years old. I was probably not 5, but somewhere close to that. You would have been in the service a long time, and you would have seen the changes. And I've been in government before, and I've seen it. I was in opposition before, and I've seen and heard it. We always want to modernize the public service. I remember former Minister Draper. Some of you may be young enough to remember him. He had a whole modernization plan for modernizing the public service. How many years later, we still have to do more to modernize the public service. So it is precisely because leadership, in response to these realities, I have a very clear vision. We must build a modern, professional, high-performing public service, which is confident, which is capable and accountable. This requires modernization. It requires performance management. It requires data-driven decision-making supported by security of tenure and continuous training. Too many of our public servants are stuck in a time zone that you're acting and you're acting and you're acting, and you end your career in the public service doing what? Acting. Is that true or not? You're sitting here, you will know. Things come to me weeks, months for someone to act. I have to say yes, no. And to act when? Can you believe? Already happened. We have to do better, and we can do better. We must do better. So I talk about confidentiality. I briefly mentioned about the cabinet notes. Cabinet notes don't leak by guess or by mistake. Somebody is actually trying to help somebody else by leaking those notes. I want to tell you that every single cabinet decision that we take, which is at least once a week, sometimes we do smaller meetings, every single one of those are sent to Her Excellency, the President. Because there's a Section 81 in our Constitution which says the government must keep Her Excellency informed of the day-to-day business of the government. So every single cabinet decision taken by this government, they are forwarded. And I checked with my cabinet secretariat only last week to confirm that these minutes are sent to the President, are sent to Her Excellency, so that she is apprised of the government's work on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. So what do we need now to modernize? Yes, we need the tools. And that will be technology and whatever else. But I think, P.S., you may want to consider, maybe you've already done it, but please consider maybe some more training. I think, you go to a public office, don't you? Public servants. We go, everybody goes, John Public goes. And sometimes the complaints are just common courtesy and the treatment of persons in these offices. So think if your brother went, or your sister went, or your mother, your father, or your daughter, or your son, and you would want them to be treated as best as you would want to treat them. So some training maybe in, handling the public, and sometimes in the crush that we had recently at the licensing officers again, those officers would have been overwhelmed because so many people took too long to come in to renew and whatever, put in a pressure on the public servants in those offices. So there will be times when there will be an upsurge of matters happening, of things taking place, and perhaps we have to have a little more training for those times when we're going to get more people from the public coming to see us and talk with us. So we modernize with capable officers, well-trained officers. We take our systems, our ICT systems, which lag behind, and in some cases, as I said, hinder efficiency and so on. I want to tell you a little story that I was very blessed to see. It is a movie. When I became the Prime Minister in 2010, thanks to the mandate of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, around that same time, there was a movie which was about Nelson Mandela. I shared it then in 2010. I'd asked all the then PSs and the senior members of the public service to come right here, but we used it in the other room. We had a luncheon. And I asked them luncheon to go into dinner, and I said, let's watch this movie, because it totally impressed me. And it was when Nelson Mandela was elected as the Prime Minister of his country. He was walking into his office, the new Prime Minister of the country, walking in South Africa, walking into the offices, and he's just watching around, and everybody just picking up boxes. They were picking up boxes, because you know what? They had packed their things from their desks into the boxes. And he was totally confused. He said, what's happening? He said, what's going on here? And I said, well, now you are the new Prime Minister, and we have to go. So we are clearing our desks, and we are moving out. And he looked at them and he said, listen, I was elected here to serve. I am here to serve our country. And if you want to serve your country, put down your boxes and keep your jobs and let us work together. That's all I'm asking of you. 9 to 10 months ago, April last year, we formed the government. And P.S. Barrow was there. So I inherited P.S. Barrow. She was an acting P.S. And in that 9 to 10 months, the transition has been so tremendous that I think, together with her staff, her team, you all have supported this government very, very well. Can I thank you today and ask you to take some thanks from us? You have worked so well in that transition. A transition phase is never easy for anyone, and especially those of you who were sitting in those offices before we came. There are stories about how many people have been fired and sent home. 99% of those things are not true. The professionals in the public service, I have not sent one home, not one. And I don't wish to send any. And I don't think I can even send somebody home, even if I wanted to. I don't have that power. I don't have that jurisdiction. But P.S. Barrow can. As head of the public service, P.S. Barrow, I'm putting you on the spot, trying to be a little amusing, but you may have the authority to make recommendations, and I will ask you, in all fairness and in all balance, to reward those who are willing to work, those who are willing to put their shoulders to the wheel. We lift them up. Let us stop all this acting. Let's get the DPA and the Service Commission to work. Get them to work. Get them to work. And if you all, as the PSs and your ministries and deputy PSs and senior public servants, if you can help us get it done, then we could stop all this acting. Some of you should get an Oscar nomination or actually collect an Oscar because you've been acting for so long. For P.S. Barrow, I congratulate her. She took us through that transition phase after we formed the government, and she has continued to work with us. We look forward to you now joining her, PSs, deputy PSs, senior officials. That's why I asked those of you who could have been here to be here today, because I don't think we've met the senior public servants since we came into government. Each minister would have met their PSs and deputies and heads, but as a government, I think this is the first time we may all be in one place. So I thank you very much, and for P.S. Barrow taking us through that transition, to the staff you have in that office of the Prime Minister, also through you, and some would be here. We want to thank you and congratulate you as well for bringing us this far. And we've come too far to turn back now, so let us work together. And P.S. Barrow, this is my mandate to you. You know what Marshall says? Give them performance. Give them performance. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep every one of you, and I thank you very much. P.S., will you accompany me as we meet the ministers one-on-one? And again, congratulate you very much for your service to the government of Trinidad and Tobago and to the people. Oh, you want to bring him here? Okay, fine. Sure. Okay, we're trying to get a one-on-one with our ministers, so I was coming to you, but they said, since I walk better, Well, I'm standing in one place. You all come join me.
The winning numbers in the National Lottery online draws for Thursday, 5th February 2026 at 10:30 a.m. Play with the number 18 Waterboat called with the Soca Ball. Play with jackpot the numbers 10, 11, 23, 17 and 16 in any order. Pick 2 the numbers 4 and 28 in that order. Pick 4 the numbers 5, 4, 6 and 6 in that order. And at 1 p.m. play with the number